CMMG Banshee and the UDP-9 are pretty much the same exact price. I wanted to talk about which one I think might be the best bang for your buck, and we're gonna compare these guns as you purchase them, not including the modifications that I've done to them. Follow the first link in the video description later on in this video when it's over. It'll take you to a separate page where you can find all the build lists and where you can find these for the best prices. First, let's compare the price. As of today, the Angstadt Arms UDP-9 cost about $1,445. The only difference, aside from the modifications that I've done to this one, is it does come with the SB Tactical SBA3 brace now. The CMMG Banshee, it's kind of the same thing. This one costs $1,549. CMMG has kind of changed what their lineup is. They have what's called the 100 series, the 200 series, and the 300 series. So with the 100 series, you simply get an uncerakoted gun, and it comes with their standard A2 grips that come on your mil-spec guns, and nothing but a buffer tube, no brace or anything like that. Now the prices vary between the different calibers, so we're gonna talk about the 9mm, but on the 100 series, the 9mm version cost $11.99 for the Glock mag compatible, or $9.99 if you wanna use the old style Colt magazines. And then for the other calibers, the prices vary as well. When you bump up to the 200 series, it does not come cerakoted either, but you do get the addition of the Magpul Mo grip, and then you get the SBA3 brace for the pistol version, or you get the ripstock if you get the SBR version. An interesting thing about these SBA3, CMMG created a proprietary buffer tube, so they are called the ripstock and the rip brace now, like that. You get this really nice ambidextrous charging handle that is huge. I mean, look at that thing. You can really get a good hook on it. You also got the ambidextrous QD sling plate on the back, and that comes with all of the models. And on the 200 series, it also comes with a muzzle brake. Now, when you go up to the 300 series, that's essentially what I have here. You get a cerakoted gun. You could choose, like, I think it's like 11 or 12 different colors of Cerakote. This one is the titanium gray. There's no muzzle device. It's just a thread protector, so you can thread on suppressors easily. It comes with the 5-inch barrel for the 9mm Glock version, and you still get the rip brace and everything else. And that's the most expensive one at $1,549. The CMMG Banshee also comes with a 33 round OEM Glock mag, whereas with the UDP-9, you get a Glock 19 or a Glock 17 round mag included with it. It does now come with the SBA3 brace with it. However, and this isn't the brace, I'm just touching it for example purposes, but the brace isn't the rip brace because that's proprietary to CMMG. The weight on these says they are sub 5 pounds. And the CMMG Banshee, they say that is 5 pounds and 12 ounces. However, I mean, I do have an older version. Okay, yeah, this is a tad bit lighter. It's really hard to tell in the hand, even when I switch hands and stuff. They feel about the same for the hand scale. Both of the receivers are made of a 7075 T6 aluminum, so they're both pretty much identical there. But there is a couple of other differences that would really determine if you're gonna get the Banshee or the Angstadt Arms, and we're gonna need to dive up close to examine that. So let's get into some of the differences between these guns, aside from what I was talking about a little bit earlier. Now this one, on the CMMG Banshee, it comes with a 5-inch barrel. They do have different barrel lengths just depending on the caliber and the style of gun that you want to get. Mine has the 5-inch on it, and I did add the flash can. There was no muzzle brake that came with mine. This one has the rip brace right there. Like that a lot. You don't need to collapse it to pull it out. You just need to collapse it to push it in. You also get this giant charging handle, super easy to charge. Now, I have done a lot of upgrades to this. I believe this is an Elfman Tactical trigger. I have their anti-roll pins. I also have the Elfman Tactical push button safety on it. I don't recommend those. I'm gonna take it off and put the standard one back on it. I have a Mission First tactical grip on it. I did add this rip brace to it since I purchased it, but now that they offer it that way, that's how you can get them. I added this Vortex, this Enforce, this CAC flash can. Now the main difference I would say between the functionality of the CMMG Banshee and the UDP-9 that we're going to look at in a second is this radial delay blowback. Let me show you. Inside of here, it is essentially a standard AR-15 upper, and it still has the M4 feed ramps. I don't know how well you can see those M4 feed ramps. A lot of these AR9s don't, which I think really adds into the reliability of this gun. It uses a standard charging handle, which so does the other one. The only difference is this bolt carrier group. And what a radial delay blowback is, on a standard bolt carrier group, this is not spring loaded. However, on this one it is. So what they noticed was when the round went off, whenever you would shoot a bullet, this would start coming backwards. And what was happening was this was unlocking too fast, and some of the back pressure was lost from escaped gas, and the bullet was losing velocity. It wasn't as fast as it could have been. So when they added the spring, when this starts to move backwards, it adds just fractions of a second in delay before it completely unlocks, thus resulting in the appropriate velocities that the bullets can travel at. But aside from the radial delay blowback and this magwell and the 9mm barrel, it's essentially a standard AR-15. The mag release is a little bit different, but that's because it has Glock mags, and like I mentioned, this is an aftermarket safety. Let's compare that to the UDP-9 now. Now, one little difference on the UDP-9 is instead of a 5-inch barrel, it's going to come with a 6-inch barrel. And it does come with a standard flash hider. However, I do have a muzzle brake on there at the moment. Now, the biggest difference between both of these guns is, like I showed you, that radial delay blowback and the way that all of that operates. So earlier, you remember how I showed you on the other upper receiver, there was M4 feed ramps. This one has 0 feed ramp. But the weird thing is, even though there's no feed ramps, I've never had an issue with this thing chambering around or any of the reliability. That's kind of interesting. Additionally, this is an aftermarket Strike Industries charging handle that I put on it. I wanted that extended latch. But the bolt carrier is completely different. This is a direct blowback bolt carrier group. So on this one, I think that possibly, I could be wrong about this, it might have a little bit longer of a life than the other bolt carrier group because there's fewer moving parts. On this one, the only moving parts are going to be your firing pin and your extractor. There's no bolt to be going in and out and creating friction and creating heat. Now, I don't have any evidence for that. That is just a wild guess. So I don't know 100%. But the downside, I guess, to having something like this is you might lose some of the velocity of your rounds because it is direct blowback and there's no radial delay. Now, I can't speak from experience because I don't have a chronograph yet. I actually just ordered one, so we will be doing a video on the comparison between the velocities. So far, it still shoots amazingly well for me. And you don't shoot these at long distances. These are close quarter combat type guns, and they've been just as accurate as I have been. So now you're probably wondering, like, okay, cool. You just confused me with a bunch of different facts and specs, and I'm more confused than I was when I started watching your video. The good thing about Angstadt arms is you don't need to buy it as a complete gun. You can piece it out and build it like I did with this one. I believe this one right now, I have approximately $1,200 into it, even with all the modifications that I've done. Aside from optics, we're not counting optics and sights. Neither one is included with that. But even with all the upgrades that I did to this one, I'm still in this thing like $1,200, and that was building it. And what I did with that was I got the barreled upper, the Angstadt bolt, and their lower receiver. And then the rest of it, I just sourced. I do want to put an SB Tactical brace on here. I just love the brace that much. So there's two things that every AR9 needs to have, in my opinion, in order for me to even want to consider buying it or building it. Number one is it needs to be compatible with Glock magazines. Nothing wrong with the Colt magazines, but I like having redundancy between this gun, and I could take a mag out, put it in my handgun, and I could keep going, or vice versa. The next one is having a last round bolt hold open. When your last round is up, the bolt is locked open, and now you can do your reload, and get back into shooting. Those are my two non-negotiables for any AR9. So before we get back into whichever one is, I think, better or better for the money, let's talk about what my shooting experiences have been like with these guns over the past 18 months with the Angstadt Arms and over the past 12 months with the CMMG Banshee. When I first built the Angstadt Arms pistol, I didn't know what to expect. I had never shot an AR9, and I had no idea if it was going to give me any malfunctions or hiccups or anything like that. bolt locked open. Since owning this gun, I've basically only ran like federal ammo that you get from Walmart, mainly the brass cased. I do have issues with the aluminum case stuff in some of my guns, so I try not to run that if possible, but sometimes when I go get ammo, that's all they have. I've never had any failures for the bolt to lock open. I've never had any double feeds, and I've never had any malfunction of any kind with the Angstadt Arms UDP9. When shooting it, it feels very nice. It shoots very flat. I mean, obviously I have a muzzle brake on it, and I haven't tried it without a muzzle brake, so I'm not really sure what the difference would be with the CMMG Banshee because it just has a flash can. I've always had the Hyperfire trigger in it, but if you didn't want that, you could always get the mil-spec trigger. Mil-spec triggers are just gonna feel the same across the board, so it doesn't matter if you get the CMMG Banshee or if you build this one with the mil-spec trigger, they're both gonna be the same as far as the trigger feel. However, the shooting experience is a little bit different. With this one, I feel like I can shoot really fast. However, with this one, I feel like I can shoot more controlled at that same rate of fire, and I think it has everything to do with the radial delay blowback that is in the gun. When shooting this one, it just has a balance unlike this one. And it has nothing to do with the type of braces that are on it. It is the way that the gun recoils and the way it feels in your hand when you're shooting it. This one just feels way more balanced. Now, with that being said, you could actually buy their radial delay blowback system and put them into any other AR9 that you want. However, with that being said though, the radial delay blowback bolt carrier group also comes with a barrel that you have to install, and it's about $375. So if you did build this one with that same radial delay blowback, you're probably gonna be approaching the same price as the CMMG Banshee, plus you might have to do some tweaking and tuning to get it to run correctly. So now that we've talked about my shooting experience, let's talk about the pros and the cons between both of these guns. So let's talk about the pros and the cons of the Angstadt Arms UDP9. You know, granted, there's only about $100 difference between the prices of these two guns if you chose to buy them instead of building this one. I'm kind of bummed that it doesn't come with that big ambidextrous charging handle like the CMMG. I'm kind of bummed that even though it comes with the SBA3 brace, you don't get a RIP brace. And I'm kind of bummed that it comes with a mil-spec trigger instead of something else. I do like the fact that it comes with a Magpul K2 grip, the one that's a little bit more vertical so it doesn't tweak your wrist. Aside from that though, no issues shooting it, and it shoots like a dream. Let's talk about the pros and the cons of the CMMG Banshee. The cons of this one are, number one, I wish it also came with an upgraded trigger, but it comes with a mil-spec trigger as well. It does not come with the Magpul Mo K2 grip. It comes with the standard Mo, which I don't think belong on shorter barreled guns because they tweak your wrist when you're shooting them. Aside from that, everything else is a pro. I love the fact that you can order it in a ton of different Cerakote colors. I also like the fact that it comes with this giant frickin' ambidextrous charging handle. I like that it comes with this RIP brace. I like the fact that it comes with the dual QD sling mount, and I like the radial delay blowback, which makes it shoot a lot smoother, especially when you're shooting fast. Now, which one would I go if I didn't have either of these, but I had all the knowledge that I had today? If I was gonna build one, I would definitely build this one. You know, if you source the parts out, I do have a build list for that. Just check the first link in the description. If you source the parts correctly, you can get something like this, or even better now, with the SBA3 brace for around $1,200. You don't gotta get all the fancy gadgets and gadgets that I have on here, so you can make out pretty decently if you know how to source the parts. If you're the kind of person that's like, look, I just wanna set it and forget it, I would get this one. You just buy it and shoot it. Now, I have heard of one or two other guys who have these. They had a couple of issues with the bolt not locking open. I'm pretty sure that that's due to ammo. However, if that does occur, CMMG actually makes a weight kit for your bolt carrier so that you can tune how it reciprocates back and forth and the speed of it. So if you do have any issues, they do make a really cheap kit that you can fine tune this with. So you don't really got to worry about that. But if you just want something, you're like, dude, I just want to pay them and have my gun and go to the range and just start having fun, this is the way to go. However, if you like to tinker, this is the way to go. So I'm gonna pass that question off to you guys because, you know, what I think is pretty much irrelevant. Now, I do want you guys to understand, look, I'm just a guy that has a sample size of one on this side and one on this side. I'm not a firearms expert. I can just tell you what my experience has been like so far. So don't take my word for it. Do your own research and watch other videos as well. But I'd love to know, which one would you prefer, knowing what you know now? But hey, if you didn't like this video, just double click on the dislike button and hit the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed. Also play Ding Dong Ditch with the notification button. But until next time, guys, I love you, and you guys stay sexy.